Okay, as the main items for this today's and this course is on fundamentals of SPSS. So in today's sessions, first we'll have introduction to SPSS, then data preparation, then data into SPSS, and data manipulation, exporting Excel to SPSS, and some uh, data conversion we will see within the given data set. And if time permits, we'll go for the background about the data presentation. Actually, data presentation is tomorrow's. So if time permits, we'll see the background and before how we can start. As we are that we are using this software, IBM SPSS. There are many statistical softwares are there. Popular among these is SPSS, then R, okay, SAS. So apart from this, there are many other softwares are there. We are using all this one. Among this, I consider SPSS is the most convenient and user friendly for all field of researchers. Okay, it doesn't assume any background about the statistical knowledge and all. Only thing, in order to use the statistical aspect, you should know what statistical methods you have to use, and it generate the results, and you should be able to interpret. So in order to make use of SPSS software, you should know, like I want to generate a frequency table, I want to generate a graph of width, whether histogram or a line chart, whether I want to find the mean or median, whether I should use student t-test or NO, or whether I should go for parametric test or non-parametric. So all these backgrounds is required, and you have to decide it. And once you are sure about it, you can make use of SPSS. It doesn't require any calculation. Enter your data, run the procedure, you will get the result, check the results, and interpret the results. So this is how SPSS can be made. SPSS means it's statistical package for social science. In early 70s, mainly it was used for social science, data analysis of social science, and later on it has become a commercial software, and now it is acquired by IBM company. So it is called as IBM SPSS. It is not only SPSS, IBM SPSS. And in order to install this one, it is not easily available. So either you have to buy it, individuals cannot afford it. So if, as a trial version, you can get approach, you register with the company websites for trials period, say for 14 days, you can get it. So you can download it, you have to register with, they will give the username and password. So once you get the username and password, you can install like any other software. So main important thing while installing is you have to download the software from the SPSS. So before that you have to register it. You get a username and a password. And once you download it, register it, you is accepted. You are provided a username and a license number to enter to make to fully install all the part of this SPSS. So once SPSS is installed and become functional, you can make use of it for your data analysis. So installation process is easy, but only thing is you have to get it from the company, the software, and also you should get the license number and username and password. Okay, it is very user-friendly statistical for data analysis in very. This software is being made by social science, management, commerce, economics, biomedical science, nursing field, pharmacy, veterinary, agricultural science. So almost in all field of research it is being used. The concepts are same. So only you have to enter the data and interpret it accordingly. As you know, this software is main aim of this software is to provide data analysis. Data analysis is a process in which we wish to answer our research questions or test the hypothesis, either to prove or disprove. So we have data at hand. So we have designed our study based on our aims and objective. We collected the data. So once we collect the data, next step is to analyze it. So what all we are doing in the data analysis, there are many steps are there. So data analysis consists of small step, consists of generating table graph, running correlation, regression, running chi-square test. Many based on your research question or aims or objective or hypothesis you set. So based on this various functions you are using. So all these statistical tools are available in the SPSS. So based on your data and research questions, you have to decide, yes, I want to run a correlation. When you are finding the association between two quantitative variables, you can make use of correlation. If you want to predict the dependent variable, we can use the regression. If you are studying the association between two qualitative variables, you can make use of chi-square test. So all these things you have to decide it as a researcher. So this decision have to be made by us. You have to prepare your data ready and run the. So what we are doing, what are the procedures available, or what are the statistical approach for this? Let us have this one. And then we'll go to the actual statistical software, entering the data and generating the tables, graph, etc. Okay, as I told you, data analysis is consists of various steps. Ultimate objective is to want to either answer our research questions or prove or disprove. So main objective of data analysis is to answer the research questions, which you already set it, collected the, then to achieve the stated aims and objectives. Sometimes we don't state the research question, we state the aims and objective. Aims and objective are your expected answers for your research study. So you have to prove all this your aims and objective. You have to, in order to meet your aims and objective, you have to analyze it appropriately using the statistical tools. So all the statistical tools are available here. You can make use of. Okay, if you are conducting an analytical study or experimental study where you are coming across the research hypothesis, either research hypothesis has to be confirmed or refuted. So this all these are parts of your data analysis. So mainly they constitute the result of this one. Through data analysis, you get the result. So the results are the answer to your aims and objectives. So your aims and objectives are met with the help of data analysis. So in this process, after having and obtaining the data, whatever your research design is there, whatever your data collection method is there, so you have to enter into the master sheet or software and then analyze. So this process, like, so what data analysis you want to answer, you have statistically, there are two approaches are available, descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So under these two tools, so we will get all the methods of data. Let us see now what exactly mean by descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So descriptive statistics is mainly used to describe the data you collect. You have made measurement about the various variables. So first thing is you have to present. So mainly it is concerned with presentation, organization, and summarization of data. So in the organization and summarization of data, what we do? We present the data with the help of table, graphs, summary measures such as measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion, which includes mean, median, mode, quartiles, percentiles, standard deviations, interquartile range, skewness, kurtosis. So all these things are involved in this process. So we are this. So it is a first step. When you start the data analysis, the first step in your data analysis is getting the descriptive statistics. You may not be presenting all this data in your thesis or research report, but for the each of the collected variable, you have to run a descriptive statistic. Suppose if you have collected a quantitative variable, you can present it with the help of mean or minimum value, maximum value, arithmetic mean, and standard deviation. Or if you are having a qualitative data, you just generate a frequency table. So looking at this frequency table, it gives the idea that the data or measured data entered into your software, it is correct or not. Sometimes we take the utmost care while entering the data, but still we commit some small errors. Suppose when, for example, if you are entering the data related to sex, so we assign in numerical values 1 and 2. So while entering, what happens if keyboard is struck? So instead of entering 1, it becomes 11. When you enter 2, it becomes 22. Or when you are hurriedly entering this one, you may enter it as 1, 2. So when we generate the frequency table, we get the frequency of 1, we get the frequency of 2, we get the frequency of 11, with frequency 22, and frequency of 2. But actually, there are two values up. So though you may not be representing all this thing, but you can check this, because while entering your data should be clean and free from errors. Okay. Usually we don't give much importance to descriptive statistics, but it should not be happen. Like here in the during the data analysis process, everything is happened. You do care and attention for all the small things. You may think what is minimum value, what is maximum value. No, you correctly find it. That is the important thing. So when you analyze the data, getting a descriptive statistics is the first. Then inferential statistics. What is inferential statistics? As you are aware that you are conducting your study based on sample. It is not possible to conduct your study on each and every individual. It may be economic study, it may be business behavior of the customer study, or it may be studying the patients in a clinical study. It is not possible to conduct the study on each and every individual. We take a representative sample using the sampling method. So based on sampling methods, we generate the estimates, we get the estimate. And if your samples are truly representative random sample, whatever results you get based on sample, they are applicable to larger sample. So here inferential statistics, it is a process of making inference or conclusion about target population based on sampling. We got the sample information, we got the result, and we generalize that. Whatever results we found in the sample, it holds true for target population. Provided that you should have a inferential statistics. One of the most important thing, make sure that your samples, the data which you are collecting is a random sample. Otherwise, it is not applicable. It may happen like, for example, during election, you might have happened that most of the channels, news channels, they predict the outcome of election, either maybe assembly or parliamentary. We observe that sometimes they are very accurate, sometimes they go terribly wrong. So if you look at why it went terribly wrong, because they are not included a random sample. Only voters of a particular party or who are favoring a particular party are included. So because of that, we don't get the correct answer. So this is the first and important requirement, random sample. If you collect the data using a purposive sampling, you cannot conduct the testing of hypothesis and general. The latest trend being that in order to have a easy method of data collection, the researchers are going for purposive sampling. Purposive sampling is used for only exploration. Nothing is known. Say for example, let us take say for example, when COVID endemic has started, COVID-19, whether they are men or women, they are from urban area or rural. And initially, only foreign travelers who are arriving to India or to a particular country, they were getting the COVID. So we are interested to know what is the background characters, so then make use of this sort of sampling, like purposive sampling. So you cannot use the random. So in order to use the inferential statistics, if you are going for a testing of hypothesis, if you are using the any of this test of significance such as student t-test, chi-square test, ANOVA, correlation regression, you requires random sample, then only your results will hold true. So what result findings you got it in random samples, that will hold true for larger problems. Okay. In inferential statistics, it includes two aspects: estimation and testing of. Estimation refers to means we make use of sampling, we make measurements, we estimate. It may be simple random sampling, or it may be stratified sampling, cluster, systematic, whatever sampling. So that is one aspect. So using the sampling method, we select the subject, whatever measurement we have to make, we measurement it. It may be computing mean, or it may be computing the proportion or percentage. And then comes testing of hypothesis. Suppose when we are comparing the outcome of two variables based on sampling, so we are confirming whether the whatever difference we are finding it in the samples, it also holds true in the larger population or target population. We go for testing of. Basically, in all analytical studies and research studies based on experimental designs or quasi-experimental design, it includes the testing of hypothesis. Okay, so when we go for estimation, there are two parts are there. One is point estimation and interval estimation. We'll see when we discuss about the descriptive statistics. And testing of hypothesis includes making use of various testing of hypothesis tests, such parametric test, non-parametric test. That. So in itself, all this how you can analyze the data. So you can analyze the data based on. So in inferential statistics, there is parametric approach is there, non-parametric approach is there. Lately, Bayesian approach is also there. They are not popular. Basically, we are focusing either on parametric test or non. So as a researchers who have begun their research, so you can understand when we can make use of parametric test, when we can make use of non-parametric test, how they are tested, when these tests have to be used, and how software can be used to derive these tests. And once we get the results of using the software, how we can interpret it. So that will be, we are studying this one. So we'll have a hands-on experience using this SPS. So it will be demonstrated. You have a data set at hand, you have a research question. Based on research question, you develop your hypothesis. So this hypothesis has to be either rejected or accepted. We'll see. So one of the common example we can give the inferential statistic. So nowadays, lot of clinical trials are going on. So how these clinical trials are done? When any new drug is released to be market, so it is conducted on a small group of patients. So whenever a new drug is tested, what is the cure rate among new drug? What is the cure rate among standard drug? If new drug shows the better cure rate, suppose in new drug cure rate is 80%, standard drug is say 50%. So this difference, is it due to chance or not? So based on sample, we want to confirm it that in larger sample also this holds, in target population also. So we use this inferential steps. Another example we can consider is, say, using the sample investigation, how we can investment in advertisement. So investmenting in advertisement, does it increase the sales of a company or not? So we can test it using based on this sample information, and so we can decide. So in future, to what extent we can invest on advertisement so as to increase the sales of company. So these are all based on sample information. We draw conclusion about the larger target. So this is the concept of inferential statistics. Okay, how you have to analyze this, especially for beginners, they are clueless. Like when to use mean, when to use median, when to use number and percentage. So you need to have some background about your study, what types of study are. Either you may be conducting descriptive study or analytical study. In descriptive study, what happens? You are describing the state of affairs. There is no testing of hypothesis, no comparison. Say for example, suppose if you have started your new production of a certain product, you want to know who are your customer, what are their characteristics, whether they are young or old, men or women, urban or rural area. So this sort of characteristic measurement we make and study it, it is a descriptive study. Whereas in analytical study, we try to find out, identify causal factor, whether any of the factors are associated among themselves. So in order to alter it, the outcome, how we can intervene here. So it helps, it is studied using the analytical study. So in analytical studies, we may use of correlation or association studies. We can predict the outcome using regression. We can compare two or more outcomes of treatment in experimental studies or outcomes. We can go for testing of hypothesis, means when we are comparing the outcomes of two or more groups, whether the difference is due to chance or not. That is testing of significance or test of hypothesis. So you should be very clear like that. What type of study you are conducting? What is your study designs? The study design is also important. Most important thing is you should clearly define your objectives. Sometimes we state the very vaguely. Say for example, effectiveness of certain new drug. Effectiveness, how you are measuring on what, whether you are comparing it in terms of cure rate or specific outcome in terms of mean or plus or minus standard deviation. What is your outcome like? How you are measuring? So effectiveness or impact. Say for example, impact of mass media on the sales of new product. Suppose you have undertaken a various mass media channels to increase your sales. So impact like is it in terms of increase in revenue or increase in number of customers going for your product? So how you want to measure and express this outcome has to be clear. Then only you can use this various statistical method. If it is in terms of continuous quantitative, so you can compute mean plus or minus standard deviation. If it is qualitative, like impact, like what is the change in them? Suppose before start of this mass media channels, what percentage of customers in a specified area are preferring your product? After mass media campaign, what percentage of customers are this one? So here we express the outcome in terms of percentage. So this should be very clear. So you have made various measurement on many variables. How you are going to use it? So that has to be expressed. State the research hypothesis. Means it should be directional. Like it has to establish the direct relationship between your dependent and independent variable. So in this process, you should know what is independent variable, what is dependent variable. So when we make use of software, say for example, when you are running the regression, so when we go for software analysis, it will ask you identify your dependent variable, identify your independent variable, and enter into that box. So before you enter the variable, you should be very clear like, what is your dependent variable and what is your independent. Say for example, based on the amount spent on advertisement, you want to predict how much increase in the sales. So here independent variable is advertisement and dependent variable is increase in sales. Yeah, correct interpretation of, otherwise wrongly you will get. So you have to be very clear. And most important is study design. You might have used many, there are many types of design are there, cross-sectional, or you may be going as survey, or say for example, a pre-test, post-test design you are using. So if you use the pre-test, post-test design for a continuous variable, you cannot make use of student t-test for independent sum. If your measurements are based on pre-test and post-test, you should go for paired t-test or dependent t-test. So this decision is based on type of your study. So study design also matters. So based on this study design, dependent variable, independent variable, we choose our strategy for data analysis. So before you start a data analysis, you should have all clear-cut idea about this. What type of study I am conducting? Is it descriptive or analytic? Is it experimental or non-experimental? Which are the independent variable? Which are the dependent variable? What is the study design? Okay. Even if the same measurement are there, means response of a person before start of the campaign or response after the campaign. You cannot use the chi-square test. Here you have to use the McNeman test because here measurements are not dependent, not independent. They are dependent. So you should know the study design because all this matters. Like especially you go for the sophisticated data analysis or high-fi methodology. So you have to be very clear cut. As a researcher, if you don't know very clear, so others can't help you. Suppose if you take a help of any statistician, they don't bother like what was your research. They think, okay, this is the one variable is there, another variable is run either chi-square test or student. Whether paired test is independent, very appropriate, or chi-square test is appropriate, or parametric test are appropriate, not appropriate, they don't think. Okay, you have collected the data about various variables and they have measured using a different scales. They are different type. Suppose if you have conducted a study on the job satisfaction in a factory, you collected the information about your respondents' age, sex, residence, income, occupation, and their job satisfaction. You ask them You report your job satisfaction on a 5-point scale. If it is highly, their response may be highly dissatisfied, somewhat dissatisfied, neutral, somewhat satisfied, and highly satisfied about various parameters like salary and perks, working environment, recreation, etc. So age is a continuous variable. Sex and residence are categorical variable, and job satisfaction is a ordinal. So various types of, you may come across other type of data we come across date. So there are various types of data we come across, we have to identify, and there are different statistics. So first thing is, after having collected the data for each of the variable, you identify which of the variable, whether the data measured is nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. What is mean by variable and constant? Here variable refers to during the process of measurement, the value of that parameter changes. Say for example, height. Suppose if you are measuring the height of students in a certain class, so all are having a different height. So there is a variable. It is not fixed. If all are the same, then it is a constant. So any of the measurement you are making, either it is a variable or constant. Variable refers to during the process of measurement, there is a change in. So the various measurements which you are making, they are called as which is the variable. First one is nominal variable. Second is the ordinal variable and ratios. So these are the scale, like nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratios. So using these scales, we measure the each of the variable. Let us see first one, what is meant by nominal variable. So nominal variables refers to categorical variables. It is counted based on presence or absence of a certain characteristics in a given data set. Say for example, about their marital state. You sort their response regarding marital state. Suppose there are 1000 persons are there, of which 600 are married and 400 are unmarried. So this sort of variable we call it as nominal variable. Now we measure it using a nominal scale. Here what we do, we count it based on presence or absence. Suppose in a given population you conduct a health survey, you find out how many are healthy and how many are diseased. Suppose if you are conducting a job satisfaction survey, you may find out how many are satisfied with their job, how many are not. So this variable we call it as an error. Means it is a counted based on presence. There is no unit of measure. Next one is ordinal scale. So this is same as nominal, but there is some sort of hierarchy is there in the measurements. Say for example, in any office you can see the designation of the people in the office may be either peon, clerk, supervisor, manager, managing director, secretary, chairman. So there are various this and that. There is a ordering. When we measure the disease, we may ask for whether it is a mild, moderate, severe. So in a factory, we classify the employees as unskilled, skilled, unskilled worker, skilled worker, supervisor, manager, etc. So there is a sort of this measure ordering is there. So this is. And next one is interval and ratio. So this interval and ratio scale are continuous. We make use of certain unit of measure. Interval scale is the one, temperature is the only variable which falls in this scale, interval scale, because it has no meaningful zero. Usually all measurements start with 0 and there is meaningful 0. And here they have equal distance, because 0 is not meaningful because temperature can be measured negative also. And it has equal distance, means what difference you find between 20 centigrade to 40 centigrade, it is same as 60 centigrade to 80. That is why equal. So temperature is the only variable where you make use of this unit of measurement and which has no meaning. Whereas ratio scale has equal distance and it has meaningful 0, such as height, weight, systolic blood pressure, age, monthly income. So these are called as ratio scale. Okay. So this nominal and ordinal scale, we statistically we refer it as discrete variable. Mainly it is a qualitative. Whereas Interval and ratio scale, statistically we call it as continuous variable, which is quantitative in nature. So what is the difference between qualitative variable and quantitative variable is that there is no unit of measurement in qualitative variables and there is a unit of measurement in quantitative variables. So make sure like, because there are different methods we are using for qualitative data and we are using the for quantitative or continuous. Say for example age. So when we treat this data, we summarize the data using mean plus or minus standard deviation. If you are dealing with the qualitative data, say for example sex, so we express what percentage of male are there and what percentage of females. So based on this type of measurement, we use different statistics. When we are studying the association between two variables, if both the variables are qualitative, we use chi-square. If both the variables are continuous, we use correlation coefficient. So this measurement of this very matters which scale it belongs to, whether it is nominal, ordinal, or ratio. So when we make use of this software SPSS, SPSS has only 3 scales are. Nominal scale is there, ordinal scale are there. Both interval and ratio scales are referred as just scale. Scale means it includes both interval as ratio scale. Nominal means it is only categorical data, limited variables, categories such as marital status, employment status, employed or unemployed. This is nominal. And if there is a ordering of the data is there, because then only we'll be able to analyze correctly. Suppose for a certain continuous outcome, dependent variable, it should be scale, like either interval or ratio scale. So by mistake, you enter that variable as nominal or order. What happens that it won't be appearing in the list of variable to run the student test because scale of the measurement is wrongly established. So if you wrongly define these variables, you may not see these variables when you run the various statistical tests. But it is seen in your database, it is seen that variable is seen. Say for example, age, you measured the age of each of the person. In database, it is seen like when you go for summarize the data, when you want to estimate the mean and standard deviation, that variable is not seen. Because instead of a scale, you defined it as a nominal. For nominal scale, you cannot run the continuous test mean for continuous variable such as mean and standard deviation. So that care you have to take. Then you have to develop the master chart. So in order to establish the master chart, you can start it in Excel. Instead of directly entering your data into the SPSS, it is advisable to enter your data in Excel first and then it can be exported. To variables, name of the variable, and each of the row refers to the measurement belonging to one person. So in the row, we have ID number of the subject, company which they belong, age of their, your database prepare master chart, you assign a numeric value for all category. Say for example, sex. We measured it, measured it as male and female. So when you enter the data, you make sure that you assign the numeric value and enter. What happens because if simple generate frequency table can be generated using if you assign their alphabet like male or female or M or F. If you go for sophisticated tests such as analysis of variable, correlation, regression, there what happens that this numeric categorical variables are not assigned. It expects your data should be numerical. So when you are conducting a analysis of variance, where you are comparing the arithmetic mean of more than 3 categories, 2 or more categories. So these categories should be numerically assigned. Company name, say for example, 1, 2, 3. Then only this analysis is possible. Otherwise, suppose if you as company, you write it as ABC. Suppose you are company comparing the mean of 3 age groups, A, B, C. So if you write it, assign the value ABC, this variable company is not seen when you call for running the analysis of variance. So another care you have to take. And you assign a numeric codes for this. We'll see now how it can be. Codes can be assigned. So before your data analysis, you make sure that your data is clean. So when we record the data on the questionnaire, G looks like 9, 9 looks like this, 1 look like 7, 7 looks like 1, 3 looks like 8, 8 looks like that. So many sort of errors. So these errors are not there. So you carry out the data editing, checking of questionnaire, preparation of master sheet, make use of a spreadsheet. Especially it is advisable to prepare it in Microsoft Excel. I should demonstrate how it can be prepared in Excel. Then coding of the variable for numeric values, for categorical values, assign codes. And when you assign the values, name of the variable in SPSS, for each of these variable column names we have this, no? Make sure that they are limited variable. Minimum, we make sure that they are 8 characteristics. Start with the alphabet, then followed with format for entering the data is either alphabet, numeric, or date. Set permissible value for this. Means you can enter the data over 4 digit, 5 digit, 6 digit. For example, if you are entering the age of the person, so you can set a possible as 2. Suppose if maximum age is 90, you can set this. Suppose if the income of the household is 6 digits, so you can fix as a 6 digit. So when you assign the name of the variable, start the name of the variable with alphabet. Okay, and see that suppose if you are entering the age of subject, age of father, age of mother, so just use the age underscore subject, age underscore father. Characteristic for naming the variable. When you invoke the statistical procedure, you will not be able to see the name of all the variables. You will be able to see only few characteristics. So when we call for this one, we have to include this variable. So we should be able to see this name of the variable should be. And most important thing is name of the variable should be unique. Unique in the that you have to use it only once. To measure the weight of subject. Suppose every 6 months you are measuring their weight. So you can say that weight at baseline, weight at 6 months, weight underscore 1 year. And in order to prepare your database in Excel, you have to make use of one row only to name the variables. Don't use 2 rows. Usually what we do, suppose age of the father is there, age of the mother is there. So in one row, we write age. Second row, we write age of father. And next column, we write first row age. Second row, we write the mother. That should not be. So you have to use age underscore subject use. And when you enter the data, especially for quantitative variables, make sure that they are free from units of measurement. Suppose you are entering the monthly income. Don't write it as rupees, dollars, pounds, etc. So in the naming of the variable only, you can write monthly income underscore rupees, weight underscore kg, height underscore inch. So while entering this one, don't write it as 80 kg. And while entering the data, if the quantitative data is there or qualitative data, enter that only. Don't write not available, not applicable. Create a problem. Suppose if you are entering the age of the persons, if some person's age is not available, leave it blank. Don't write as NEA or dash dash, because what happens? The entire column measurements continuous become categorical. If you are entering the qualitative variables, suppose if you are entering the male and female, make sure that informed. All are started with capital M, ALE, and female capital FEM. For some, we write a capital M, for some small m, for female, for capital F, for some small f. When you generate the frequency table, you will get the frequency for all 4. So this will generate a problem. Then how to assign the codes? Suppose you sort a response regarding gender of your subjects. You while recording your response in your questionnaire, you check the box of male or female. So when you enter the data, you assign a numeric code values for. So one assign value 1 for male and 2 for female. Okay, similarly for urban and rural, assign a value 1 for urban and 2 for rural. When you assign this value, you record it in the separate book. Like you should not miss, you should not forget it. So when we transfer into SPSS, we have to assign these values. We have to assign the values. One means what, 2 means. So in order to correctly assign these values, you note it down in the separate code book. And it is advisable you generate the dummy tables. Dummy tables means at the planning stage without the values frequencies. Say for example, when we develop the cross tab, so in the frequency table we use the software SPSS. It will ask what should be your row variable, what should be the column. If you want table something like that, here the row variable is number of years of service, column variable is job satisfaction. Job satisfaction, yes or no. So how it should look your table this. And also for finding the percentage, there are 3 ways of finding the percentage. In the denominator, you can take the row total. In the denominator, you can take the column total, or you can in the denominator, you can take the grant. So you have to decide it. So accordingly, you can generate the percent. So it all depends on the study design. Okay. So in order to make use of the SPSS software, what you have to do? First, you have to enter your data into the data editor, means the space which means for data entry in the SPSS, we call it as data editor. Once you enter the data, you can start the analysis. There is a menu called analyze. So we have to make use of the analyze. It will provide all the menus available. You can generate the frequency table, cross table, you can run the student t-test, chi-square test, parametric test, non-parametric test, univariate test, bivariate test, multivariate test. So all these things are available. So once you select this procedure, you select the variable. Suppose you are want to run the regression equation, you want to run the regression analysis. So select the dependent variables, select the independent variables into the box which it asks to enter. So you enter it, check it, click OK. So you will get the result. Result will find in the new sheet, which is called SPSS view. So in one data sheet, you have got the data. In another, when the analysis is carried out, you will get all the result in another window, what we call it as SPSS view. So these are the some fundamental things you have to do. So once you prepare all these things, when you make sure that your data is correct and all planning you have made, well, name of the variable and all these things, then start entering the data. Now we'll go to the SPSS software. Okay, this window which you are seeing, no, it is a SPSS data editor. Okay, so it looks like any spreadsheet program, Excel. It is not a, it is here, the cells are only meant for entering the data. In Excel, in each of the cell, you can carry out this calculation. Here it is, you cannot calculate anything, you enter for. So this variable, very what is on, it is entering for the various variables. Like say for example, a serial number, name, age, sex are there, no, you can enter this. Okay. On the top, you can see there are various menus are there. Each have their own functions, like file like. So file is just like how we use it in any software like Word, Excel. Means creating a new file, opening an existing file, save as. So these are the main features. Editor is mainly for copy paste. In addition to the copy paste, suppose if you want to insert a variables between the existing variable. Suppose you have noted the, you entered the age of the subject and age of the father is father. In between, you want to insert the variable age of the mother. So you can insert a new variable. You can insert a case also in any of the things. So this is the main feature of this. So this view helps you to observe the how you entered the data. I will demonstrate it now later. And mainly data refers to properties related to data. What type of data is there? You can sort it, merge files, split files, select cases. So you can carry out the analysis for only male. You can carry out the analysis only for female, or you can carry out for a random sample. Suppose if you have collected the data for 1000 persons, but you want to run the analysis for only 300 random samples. So all these things you can. It is mainly related to data properties. Then transfer is very mainly is for manipulating your data. Suppose you want to compute a new variable. Say for example, you collected the information about number of persons in the household and you collected the information about their monthly income. So based on this information, you want to calculate per capita income. Mainly you want to get the derived variable. Means derived variable means based on the existing variable, you want to derive a new variable. Suppose if you may be having the data about height and weight. So based on the height and weight, you may want to find the body mass index. Means you want to calculate you want to perform certain calculation. So for that, you can make use the compute variables. So compute variable helps for the existing variable, you can compute in. Then another important thing is we are using is recode into same variable and recode into different. Suppose if you have collected the age of the persons. Suppose if your minimum age is say 8 years and maximum age is 80 years. You want to divide this entire data into 3 categories: children's, adult, and senior citizen. Means less than 18, 18 to 60, and 60 plus. So based on the existing data, you can generate a new categories or new group. So that is what we call it as a recode. Or suppose you have collected the information male and female. Male is 1 and female is 2. You want to change it during certain analysis. You want to change the codes. So you can change also. Okay, optimal binning. So binning, visual binning. So visual binning is for continuous variable. You want to generate a age group. The example of what age group I have given. Suppose you want to have a continuous frequency table for age 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, etc. So you can make use of visual binning and generate the group. So this is the main feature of transform. Mainly it is for data manipulation. During the analysis, we'll have to make a lot of data manipulation, rearrange the data. So mainly to rearrange the data, this transform will fail. Then coming to the analyze. Analyze is the most important menu in this one. It is, you can consider this analyze as your statistic. After entering the data, whatever analysis you want to carry out, it will carry. So using descriptive statistics, you can get the frequency table descriptives, explore the data, cross tabs, PP plots or QQ plots. Okay. Then you can carry out the compare mean. Like suppose you want to carry out the student t-test for independent sample, 1 sample, 2 sample, pair t-test, one-way ANOVA. So you can. So general linear model you can use for specified analysis of variance, two-way analysis of variance. Suppose you want to carry out the two-way analysis of variance. So we can use univariate. So if we are having a more than one response, one dependent variable, we go for multiple. Statistically, if you are having you are dealing with a one response, one dependent variable, we call it as that analysis as a univariate. If you are considering more than one response simultaneously, we go for a multiple. We can make use of correlation, we can make use of regression, we can go for non-parametric test. Okay, we can make use of reliability analysis, Cronbach alpha. So all this thing can be done. Forecasting time series, you can make use of this one. Missing values are there. If in your data set any of the value is there, the missing value is replaced. So all these features are available in the analysis. So in order to make use of analysis, you should have a data in your database. Go for this analyze, click on the menus of which one, so that will. Then we have graph. So you can generate the bar diagram, you can generate line diagram, pie diagram, box plot, scatter plot. So many of this one are. Okay, this is about the view. In the bottom, you can see there are two panes, data view and variable. Data view is for entering the data. Say for example, you want to enter the serial number of the person. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we enter the data, you can see that actually you want to write it as serial number. Here you can't enter this. In Excel, you click it and you can do. And here it is not possible. So in order to name the variables, what you have to do, you have to go to this pane variable. This variable view is related to mainly with the information related to the variables. So first variable is entered is serial number. So you can change it. Because if you did not give the name like this, the prior name, SPSS software gives on its own new name. VR001, VR00. Okay, this is the name of the V. Then type is type of the data. What type of data you are having? As I told, mainly three types of data we are in. Numeric. If you are entering the numbers, it is numeric. If you are entering the alphabet like string, you have to change it. Like say for example, name of the person. By default, any variable when you generate it, when you create it, it would be numeric. If it is a numeric, if you want to type the name of the person, you enter the name of the person, it is not possible. You have to change it. Suppose you want to write the date. So once you define the date, what format like DD, MM, YY. So what format is there? You have to define. So this is about the type. This is very important. When you generate a string, numeric data can be entered, except it, but no numeric calculations will be calculated. You enter it as a numeric, you convert it as a string, you enter the age of the persons. If you want to compute the arithmetic mean, it won't compute because it is a string like. For characters, alphabets, we cannot compute the arithmetic. Width refer to width it want to hold. Means whether it is you want space to allocate, it will be 4 digit, 6 digit. So serial number is said there are maximum 800 persons are. So you require 3 digit. So width you can. And there is no decimals like that, you can set this. Short. So in the label, you can write it in detail about the variable. You can write serial number of subject. So you have to provide it, write it in detail. Because name of the variables, you are told to keep it very short. Whether 8 or 12 characters. Suppose there are various dates are there. Date of end. So all this thing you can write it here. Okay. Next important thing is here. Values is there. I will demonstrate it now how it is for a categorical variable. When we assign it, we are making use of values. Then align means it alignment, where right alignment, left alignment, where data you entered. Measure is unknown is there. No important thing is measure. The measurement is whether it is scale, ordinal or not. This is also one of the important things. Or if your all data are continuous, this one, make sure that it is scale. Suppose by mistake for continuous data, you enter it as nominal variable. What use that? Student t-test won't be carried out. Arithmetic mean and all this thing won't be carried out. So you have to make sure that according to the type of data, whether the data is nominal, ordinal or scale. Okay, this is the main function of this measure. So our first variable is serial number. Second variable we want to have is name of the subject. Okay, name of the subject By default, it assigns them as a numeric values, but it is a, since we are writing the alphabet, so it should be string. We have to change it. And it will ask for characteristics. How many characteristics you want to allocate? So 30 characteristic, 40 characteristic depend upon this. So 30, so it has changed to 30 width. So up to 30 characteristics it will hold. So name, you can write it as name of the subject or name of the father, name of the mother. Next is says sex. So their sex we have measured in terms of categorical as male and female. In order to analyze the data, we numerically express it. We assign a codes, one for male and two for female. So it is gender of the subject and values there. No, for all categorical values, when you assign the codes numeric values, you have to define it. You have to assign the value labels. Value label 1 means what? In the while coding the data, 1 refers to male, 2 refers to female. So when all the codes are entered, click OK. So it will be seen. So once you enter this, you click this on this box here, this area, it will show like what code you have assigned. 1 for male and 2 for female. So when you generate the frequency table, the frequency will be show for male and female. Not only if you did not assign these values, the frequency will show as 1 and 2. Okay, next is place of residence. So this we express it as string length. U for urban area, R for rural. Next is age of the person. Okay, then suppose we want to find the per capita income of this subject. So we have noted number of persons in the household. And monthly income. So you should not keep any blank here. Only if you want to distinguish this one, you can make use of underscore. Apart from underscore, you should not use any other characteristics, special characteristics. Instead of keeping blanks, assign this. Suppose we want to find per capita income, PC income. So what is PC income? You can write it this. Per capita income of the household. Okay, now you come. So from this we defined all the variables. So once you are defining the variable is more, so you can. So age is unknown, it should be scale. Number of persons, it is unknown, it should be scale. It should be scale. Okay, now you come to the data view. Click on the data view, you enter the value. Suppose name of the first person is say ABC. Sex is say female. Residence is urban area U. Age is say 24 years. Number of the persons in the household is 3. Monthly income say 80,000. Second one is say PQR. Sex is male. Place of residence urban or rural R. See age of the person is say 28. Number of the person in the household is 4. Monthly income is say 35,000. Third say XYZ. female, rural, age is set 20 years, number of persons is 2, say monthly income is 1,20,000. Fourth person is say RTS, so sex is male, urban residents, age is say 26 years, number of persons is say 6, monthly income is say 25,000. So like this you can enter it. Suppose if you enter here like that, if you not define, you enter the values, what happens is the software gives on its own its variable name like VAR003. So if you want to assign any variable name for this, go to variable name, variable view, and you can. Suppose this is distance of the household from market. Distance. Okay. So when you click on this one, view, click on the value labels, you can see for sex we assigned the values 1 and 2. So what is 1 and what is 2, it will show the values. Okay. Again, if you click on unclick on this one, value labels, the male female what you are showing, it will disappear and it will show the values 1 and 2. Okay, now let us perform some calculation. We'll derive a new variable based on the existing variable. We'll derive a new variable, what is called as derived variable. This is a new variable obtained using this. So this PC income is there. Actually, it should be monthly income. Based on this monthly income, we'll develop the per capita income. So in this database, the variables is serial number, name, sex, resident, age, number of persons, monthly income, and distance. So now in order to get the per capita income, what you have to do? Click on the transform. Okay, compute variables. So how we are deriving the compute variable? It is per capita income. And how we are getting the per capita income? Monthly income divided by number of persons in the households. So numerical expression refers to how you are finding. You can develop any type of expression. Addition, multiplication, division, square. Apart from this arithmetic, various types of expression you can get it. So what calculation you want, how you want to find it out? Numeric expression you get it using the existing variable. Click OK. Okay. So this it has come into the new window. I will show the window. When we carried out this one, it has come all the information. We can see this one is output window. Means all the results will come in the new window. So this window, what we are seeing is the output window. So this is the database established. So once you define the name of the variables, before start of the entering the data, what you do, give a file name and save it. So when you first time save it, save as, give a file name. And by default, it asks saves in either documents or SPSS folder, but don't save in document or SPSS folder. What happens if your computer creates any problem? All the data in this folder goes, only data remains in the hard disk. So either you save it in either D drive or U drive. So you go to the D drive and assign a file name. It as a default, it is showing the untitled one. So you give it this. Say for example, you can say it is student data. Student underscore data. Okay. So when we save it, it assigns the file name dot save. Star dot save means dot save is a file extension for data file. When next time you want to retrieve this database, what you have to do, go to the folder where you should click on this one, student data star dot save. So dot save is a file extension for saving the data. Then click on the save it is. So one file name already exists. Already file exists. Student underscore data dot save already exists. Do you want to replace? No. So we can give student data one. Saved. So all these files names are you. So you can see the file name here. Student underscore data one dot save. So dot save means it is a SPSS your data file. So using this transfer, we got a new variable PC income equal to monthly income by number of persons. So this we can see in the PC income new column. Earlier this column was not there. Okay, so per capita income we have got it. Suppose based on this per capita income, you want to classify these households like those monthly income is less than 10,000. We want to classify them as low standard of living. Those in whose household income is more than 10,000, we want to classify them as high standard of living. So based on the PC income, we want to generate a new variable that is standard of living. So in order to generate this variable, what we go to click on this one. Record into different variables. Means it makes, we are asking the software, you make use of the data on PC income, generate a new different variable. Record into different variable. So we want to make use of this PC income. Outcome variable, new variable is standard of living. Standard STD underscore living. Okay, then click on old values and new. Means what exactly we are doing? All the values which are less than 10,000, assign a value 1. All the values which are more than or equal to 10,000, you assign the value 2. Means new value, how it should be assigned? If PC income is less than 10,000, assign value 1. PC income greater than 1, PC income less than 10,000, assign value 1. PC income greater than 10,000, assign. So value like here this is the existing value. Value means old value. Here old value is there. Old value range through value means range less than or equal to 10,000. So here new value should be 1 lakh. Means old value less than 10,000 is converted into new value 1. Add 1. Then range through highest means range through 10,000 and above, assign 2. So here next you will see that when we add it, so it has to come here old value and new value. So old value lowest through 10,000 is 1. 10,000 through highest means more than 10,000 2. This is how we assign the values. Then when all the assigning value changing has taken place, click on the continue. Okay, then you have to ask for the change. The name is changed from PC income to standard of living. Then click OK. When click OK, new column is generated here, which consists of 190. Okay, first it shows all this functions in the output variable. Then we'll come back to the data file and we can see. Okay, you can see earlier the standard of living column was not there. So now if this column is generated only when your categorical variable or classification is very clear cut, there is no confusing, like then only this very column is generated. So we have so in the standard of living we have got the categories now 1 and 2, but actually what we want, low standard of living and high standard of living. So we are assigning a values for this. So click on variable view, go to this row standard of living. So this standard of living is here, you can write it. Standard of living. So here you have to assign the values. Click on the values. 1 means low standard of living, and 2 means high standard of living. Add, click OK. So you click on the data view, you can see how this has been assigned. So high, low. So here like this we have modified the data. First we have got number of persons and monthly income. Using that we have got the per capita income, and based on the per capita income we want to categorize this household as high standard of living households and low standard of living household. So we assign the values high and low. Okay, so once you develop your database, then you go for data analysis. Okay, now we'll see how the same data which you entered in Excel can be converted, exported into SPSS. Okay, we'll come to the Excel file now. Okay, this is the Excel file we are seeing it. So you have generated your database in Excel. So how to prepare your database in Excel is, you start from the first row, first column for naming of the variable. And first row is exclusively meant for naming of the variable. Okay. And use only one row for naming of the variables. You should not use 2 rows. So usually what we see, how the student or researcher, this one, they start somewhere in this one, like serial number. Suppose there is age of the father is age of the father, and age of the subject is age subject. Okay, then they here entered here. This is a wrong value. So in order to prepare, export your data, this one, what you have to do, you have to start from the first row, first column, and your names, how it is entered, like the same in SPSS. In each of the column, name of the variables are given, and each of the row, it belongs to information related to one person. So this row will indicate ID number, group which they belong, what is their age group, sex, religion, education, height, weight, etc. Okay, so once you establish your database in Excel, see where you have saved it. That is most important thing. In which folder you save it. So I have saved it in desktop, whose file name is statlab. When you export it, you should know the folder in where this file has been saved, and you should know what is the file name. And another care you have to take here is that if you are comparing a two data set, like two groups, all the groups should be data should be in the same sheet. While collecting the data, what researcher does, in one sheet, group 1 data is there, in another sheet group 2 is there, in one sheet male's data is there, another sheet male female data is there. When analyze, if your objective is comparison of all these groups, so your all data should be in one sheet only. That is another care you have to take. So before starting, it is advisable to close your Excel. Okay, how to export it, let us see. So now you come to SPSS. Click on the file, click on the open, click on data. Okay, you see this window. So first thing is you have to change the file type. So it will open now existing SPSS file .save. So you have to change this files type from save to XLS. And then go to the folder where your Excel file has been saved. I have saved my Excel file in desktop. So come to the desktop folder, stat. So when you change from .save to .xls, then only you will be able to see Excel files. Otherwise, no. It will show only SPSS. So I select this one, open it. First, it will ask the data sheet, like where your data is like. If you are having more than 2 data sets, there are different data sets. So that here you can see the data is on stat 1 and stat and sheet 1. So I want to data from stat. The folder, the sheet where your data is arranged, you select that data set, then click OK. So your data has now come in SPSS. So you have got your data has been exported from Excel to SPSS. So it is the Excel data into SPSS. Okay, I will demonstrate once again how to get it. So click on the file, open. Data. Okay, change here SPSS statistics star dot save to XLS. Go to the folder where you stored your Excel file. Click on that file where it contains your data. Open. It will ask for the sheet link. Your data may have 3 sheet links: sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. Suppose by default it will show the first sheet. If suppose you want to export only third sheet data, you have to change it. You have to change the sheet and then click OK. Okay, your data is now available in SPSS. So first thing what you have to do, give a file name and save it. Save as a research data. Whatever file you name you want to give this. Research data, which folder you want to save, save. Click on the save. Okay. So here you will be able to watch all the data has come. If some dots are there in this one which you are not given, so this will come like V14, V15. They are blank cells, but they are activated. So SPSS has given new names, so you can delete, edit it and clear it. So all these things. Don't keep unnecessary data. Only include variable which are required for your analysis, because the window become unnecessarily large and it become unmanageable to select the variable when we go for analyze to select the variable. Okay, next thing what you have to do, for each of the categorical variable, you have to assign the code. Say for example, group, there is control group and experimental group. Then sex, male, female, religion, this one. For all these variables, you have to assign the value label. So group for the value, this one means experimental group, 2 means control. Then you all the enter it, click. Say for example, then DM, diabetes mellitus. 1 means yes, diabetic yes. 0 means no. Okay. Similarly for education. 1 means primary, presuming that there are no illiterate. 2 means secondary. 3 means SSC and above. So for all the categorical variables, you have to define it. Means at the while assigning the codes in your code book, you have noted it. For group, 1 is experimental group, 2 is control group. For education, 1 means primary, 2 means secondary, 3 means SCC. So like that, for all the categorical variables, you have to assign. Here also, so if you click on the view, click on the value labels, you see them, whether they belong to experiment or control, SSC and all the education level. If you want to see only values, uncheck this box, value label. The same data manipulation can be done using this. Suppose we have measured the BMI and we want to categorize it. Means all those whose values are BMI are normal and more than 25, we call it as abnormal or obese. So in order to compute this one, what is to compute variables? Make use of this BMI. Okay, we calculated, yeah. Transform, recode it into different variables. So we are making use of this BMI. So here we can call it as BMI category. The new variable is category. Okay, old values and new values. Less than 25, we assign a value 1. Greater than 25, we want to assign a value 2. Add, click OK, change, and click OK. So you can come back to this research data. You can say that new variable has been generated. So in order to define this one, you go to the BMI categories. You can assign the values. 1 means normal, 2 means obese. So you assign it and enter. So this is about the data management and data manipulation. You can generate the many file, and for this one you can change the categories, you can change the code. So all these things can be done. Okay, thank you very much. With this, I conclude today's session. In the next session, we'll see how to generate the frequency table and descriptive statistics.